John Weddleton.
Daryl Hess.
May Ramirez-Jean.
Betsy Isis.
Ellie Green Jackson.
Bill Evans.
Tim Steele. Pete Peterson.
Julia Tucker.
Robert Hare, CFO.
Jackie Yeagle. Chad Easley. Lisa Slusman.
Thank you. Mr. Judge, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for allowing us some time today to present to you. We're going to talk to you a little about the Anchorage Municipal Ombudsman's Office. With me here today is our Deputy Ombudsman, Betsy Isis, and our Associate Ombudsman, May Ramirez-Jean. And I wanted to congratulate May. She was recently certified by the Interpreter Center here in Anchorage as a Hmong interpreter, the first interpreter to be certified as a Hmong interpreter for the municipality of Anchorage. So we're proud of her. The Municipal Ombudsman's Office is your independent voice for fairness in the municipality. What's an ombudsman? Ombudsman is a Swedish term, although I ran into a young man from Israel in Atlanta and he claimed it was a Yiddish term. And we also had some tourists come into our office a couple of weeks ago, one of their picture taken with us, that claimed it's a Dutch word. But I've been told it's a Swedish term meaning protector or defender of citizens' rights. The municipal charter provides for a legislative ombudsman in Article 4.07. We are under the legislative branch of government. We are also, the municipal charter's Bill of Rights says that the people of Anchorage have the right to an ombudsman. The ombudsman is empowered and governed by Anchorage Municipal Code and Anchorage Municipal Code of Regulations, Chapter 2.60. The ombudsman is an impartial and independent agency. The ombudsman and any full-time members of the staff may not participate in a political campaign or donate to municipal candidates. We're a legislative ombudsman's office. We maintain confidentiality unless it is waived by the complainant or it's necessary to investigate a complaint, in which case we have to advise the complainant that in order to move forward, we would have to disclose their name, and then they can make the choice to not have us investigate. Our services are free to the public. The Ombudsman investigates departments, employees, and agents of the municipality of Anchorage and/or the Anchorage School District. Complaints and concerns may result from the action or lack of action by a municipal or school district employee. In an investigation, the Ombudsman may enter without notice the premises of a department during normal business hours, review any relevant municipal documents. Probably the only documents we can't see are those that are attorney-client privilege documents. But other than that, even before the police department publicly posted their policies and they were confidential, we were allowed to see those. We can take testimony, which we deem relevant to an investigation, and we can issue a subpoena to gather information. We've never, in my 4 years as ombudsman, we've never had to request a subpoena. Impeding an investigation, an ombudsman investigation, is a misdemeanor and carries a fine of up to $500.
Good question.
Mr. Weddleton.
So you would fine a municipal employee if they said, no, you can't look at my nose?
We would, well, if we considered it rose to the level of impeding an investigation. We normally don't have an issue with that. We maintain a good relationship with most of the departments, and if we had a issue with an individual employee, we would talk to the supervisor. But we've never run into that. But if somebody attempts to withhold a document we think is relevant, it could rise to the level of impeding an investigation.
So what happens after an investigation? The ombudsman may bring the matter to the attention of the department head, the municipal manager, the mayor, the assembly, or the public. Recommend changes to the municipal code and policies and procedures. Require the department to notify them when action is taken on their recommendations. Municipal departments and school districts are not required to follow the ombudsman's recommendation, but they usually do. The Ombudsman must consult with a department or person before offering a report or recommendation critical of that department or person. The Ombudsman may initiate an investigation if they believe the issues are unreasonable, unfair, oppressive, arbitrary, capricious, and abuse of discretion, or unnecessarily discriminatory, even though in accordance with law, contrary to law or otherwise erroneous, based on improper or irrelevant grounds, or a mistake of fact, unsupported by an adequate statement or reason, and performed in an inefficient or discourteous manner. The Ombudsman may decline or cease an investigation when there is an adequate remedy already in place. The complaint is trivial, made in bad faith, or untimely. The Ombudsman's office has insufficient resource to investigate. The complaint declines a fair and reasonable resolution, or the complainant does not have standing. And as a reminder, the Ombudsman does not investigate the Assembly, the Mayor, the school board, state or federal agencies, private party disputes, tenant and landlord disputes, decisions more than 1 year old, generally, matters that have been adjudicated or are being adjudicated by the courts, and matters that are not jurisdictional.
Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. How do you decide who has standing and who doesn't have standing?
It would depend on the case. So, as an example, we had a woman call who said that she believed that the Anchorage Police Department had targeted her son and issued him a traffic citation. So the first thing we ask is, how old is your son? He was 25 or 26. She doesn't have standing to file the complaint. He would have to file the complaint. If her son were a minor, then she could file the complaint on his behalf. So it's on a case-by-case basis. If you say a friend of mine was treated discourteously by Public Works, well, but you weren't treated discourteously. Your friend would have to contact us.
All right, great, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Mr. Dunbar?
Gerald, could you go back one slide? Okay. Well, at any rate, so I think you said that you guys don't get areas. Don't do private party disputes or tenant landlord disputes. But because I'm in your office a lot, I realize people are coming and complaining about a variety of things that I know you get complaints about that are basically landlord tenant or my neighbor has trash on their lawn, that kind of thing. And can they get you to act by not saying I want you to talk to my landlord, but my landlord is violating this and the department should be doing this to them, code enforcement won't take my calls, that kind of thing.
Right. In those instances, Code Enforcement's website actually lists 3 ways you can file a complaint: through their hotline, through their website, or through the Ombudsman's office. Because information, while it's confidential when you file a complaint, if it goes to an administrative hearing officer or a court, the complainant's name may be disclosed. So if they want to remain absolutely confidential, they can go through our office. So if it's something that has to do with violating a municipal code, even though it's a neighborly dispute, we would look at that. But what we're talking about is something that's a civil matter, that's entirely a private party dispute. There's no violation of code involved. There's no discourtesy or lack of enforcement by a municipal agency. So the municipality has not done anything. There's no violation of municipal code. It's simply, as an example, my neighbor's tree, the branches are over my car in my parking lot, and the sap's getting on my car. There's no violation of code there. That's entirely a civil matter. So we would refer them to, we would recommend they probably get legal advice.
Are there quite a lot of tenant landlord disputes that do revolve around the violation of the code? I mean, you just brought us a code reform.
I would say that the majority of complaints we receive are non-jurisdictional as far as landlord-tenant issues. They don't involve violations of Title 15 or the land use codes. And in those instances, we generally refer people to Alaska Legal Services. We have a very good relationship with them. They actually helped us with the rewrite of the code. So that probably is confusing. Sometimes if it's there are neighborly disputes that may involve violations of the code, then of course we do look at those.
Thanks, Mr. Doyle.
So when people, there's several ways people can file a complaint. They can phone us, they can come into our office, they can send us email, they can go on our portal, and we then classify those complaints in 3 different ways. We have contacts for interactions with persons who may only need information or who may want to express their opinion or concern regarding local government. These interactions normally require no further action by the Ombudsman's office. So our favorite contact was when somebody called us to inform us that they were opposed to the NFL refereeing for the Super Bowl. So, we noted that as a contact, but that's all we could do. Referrals reflect inquiries that are referred to a state or federal agency, community agencies, or to municipal or school district employees or departments. And finally, then cases are inquiries that require some level of investigation by the Ombudsman's office. So as you can see, we have the majority of our contacts are, or I shouldn't say contacts, but our complaints are referrals. In 2015, we had 765 contacts, almost 400. Cases were at 236 for a total of 1,392 complaints for the year. Closed most of those. It shows we closed a few more than we opened, and that's because there were a few remaining from the previous year. And then we had 9 that carried over from December to January.
That looks pretty good. How many people are happy with what they got from you, though?
100%.
So I'll tell you a story. When Ernie Hall offered me the Ombudsman's position 4 years ago, I said, Kreiner's Diner has a great T-shirt. The employees on the back, it says, not trying to make everyone happy, just a solid 75%. And I said, well, I think I need to get those shirts for the Ombudsman's office. And he said, if you can make 25% of the people happy, he said, I'd stand on my head. And do we make everybody happy? No. But I think a lot of people come to us because they want somebody outside of the department they're dealing with to confirm what the department says. So they may not be happy, but I think they're a little more satisfied with the response frequently.
Not quite as unhappy.
Not quite as unhappy.
So of the 230-some cases that we have, we pick out the top 10, and there's 34, 35 departments in the municipality, and these are top 10 for 2015. Any department that has constant contact with the public is going to have more community development in the police department. New into that with the fire department and the legal department, and then out for 2015 was MLMP and AWW. So that's our top 10 list. And here's the the cases by district. So you might be interested in your district of who has the case load. Unspecified would be something that applies to the entire city, or we don't know where they live, or they may be outside of Anchorage but are complaining. Maybe they're a tourist or something, and they're filing a complaint.
We get a surprising number of phone calls from out of state or outside of the municipality.
Right.
People in West Anchorage are happy.
We're happy in West Anchorage. That's
Not any
true.
more than anywhere else.
And so this is kind of that shows the trend of our cases over the last 4 years. Starting in 2012, we had 293 cases that were carrying over from 2011. And over the course of that year, closed most of those and ended up with 22. And then over 2013, 14, and 15, we averaged 10 to 15 cases that will carry over from December to January. But the majority of our cases are solved within a timely manner. We do probably have 10 or 12 cases currently open, and that's probably pretty typical.
I will say in 2011, I believe there were 1,200 open cases. So, we believe that the Anchorage Municipal Ombudsman's Office serves as an important information resource for the residents of the municipality and for visitors. We've tried to do a lot of public outreach over the last 4 years. Between 2013 and 2014, our contacts with the public were up 49%. The year before I was appointed ombudsman, the contacts with the public for that year were 700. So we got that up to over 1,400 last year, and approximately in 2014, and for 2015 we're right around 1,400. So we think a lot of that's been through our public outreach. On muni.org, when I was appointed ombudsman, our webpage was one paragraph. So we've expanded our presence on muni.org. We've posted all of our investigative reports that we've done for the last 4 or 5 years are posted. Our annual reports since 2009 or 2010 are posted. The internal audit from 2011 is posted, as well as our follow-up audit from 2016. So we're trying to be more transparent with the public. We're trying to show them what we're doing. We developed with the Ms. Gray Jackson and Mr. Trainey's approval. We transferred money from budget savings last year, from our labor savings, and we paid to establish a CityView public portal that's optimized for smartphones and tablets. We did a new office brochure, and we just had the brochure translated into Tagalog and Korean, and we have Yupik and
Spanish.
Hmong and Spanish are coming. We've signed up for the Language Link program to help us with translations. We developed an online complaint form. On our business form cards, we did something I learned from Ms. Gray Jackson, is you make them useful. So if you look on the back of our business cards, we took the departments that we get the most calls regarding, the pothole hotline, the street light hotline, state ombudsman's office, and we put those numbers on the back of our business cards. If you make your business cards useful, people keep them. They hang on to them. Something you might all think about. And we've been doing a lot of community outreach through community councils and community organizations. Our office partners with the Anchorage Equal Rights Commission, and we will staff tables at different community events and distribute information about our office and other offices. So,
Just real quick, we have 479 likes on our Facebook page. If you haven't liked our Facebook page, we're almost at 500. So we've got a lot of information for the public on our Facebook
and if you
page.
like us to get us to 500, your name gets entered in the drawing for a package including a nifty ombudsman T-shirt. So I had a couple of cases I wanted to mention briefly, kind of highlight the real world of what we do. So one of the first cases I had is an 82-year-old gentleman contacted our office. He had received a parking ticket. He put his $10 in downtown, parked in the handicapped parking space. He got a $250 ticket. He forgot to hang his placard up. And I said, well, Easy Park will, they'll reduce it to a warning or they'll dismiss it, no problem. Here's the director's phone number. So I came in on Thanksgiving and there was a fax from his wife, and it was the denial letter from Easy Park. They wanted the $250 and the $15 late fee. And when I called them, he'd received a similar violation 5 years before in Jitters Coffee and Eagle River. So when we looked at that, and this is an example where Easy Park they followed the code. They didn't do anything wrong. But when we looked at the code, was it fair? If you get caught driving without your driver's license or your insurance card or tinted windows, those are all correctable. So we're taking a group of people that already have a lot on their plate, people with disabilities or seniors, and we want that $250 regardless. So our recommendation, we found the complaint justified. We recommended to the Assembly that handicap parking offenses be made correctable offenses, and the Assembly voted 11-0 to make that change.
Those items that you listed in terms of fix-it tickets, you still have to pay for the fix-it ticket in terms of not that full amount, but processing fee, $30 or $20.
Well, this one you don't, as long as you had a placard that was valid at the time of the offense. Then we had another case, a woman contacted the office. She lived in a trailer court in East Anchorage for 32 years in your district. And she received a certified letter from the trailer court owner's attorney threatening her with eviction because the city's land use enforcement had accused her of holding too many garage sales, and so they said she was operating an illegal home business. And she said, well, I didn't do this. That was my neighbors. So when we looked at it, we found out the land use enforcement officer did kind of a drive-by a couple times and saw all these signs. Well, they weren't all hers. But the real issue was the city had accused her of doing this. She didn't even know it, because under Title 21, land use violations, the property owner is responsible. So the property owner is noticed regarding it. So we worked with Jack Frost, and he's changed the policy. So now the tenant and the property owner are noticed. So the tenant can say, wait, I didn't do this. They actually have an opportunity to prove that they did not do what the city is accusing them of doing. Another one was the transit center, when there was a press conference and it was announced that we were going to close the restrooms at the transit center, make them unavailable between 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. daily. We actually had a homeless person that came to our office and said, I don't think that's right. It's a public building. So we looked at it. I talked to the building department, and sure enough, the code requires that as long as that building is open to the public, restrooms have to be available. So the middle ground we found is they have to be available, but they don't have to be unlocked. So they're locked after 5 p.m., and there's plenty of signs there that say, see the guard or dial this number as the guard's number. So it was a good solution that helped deal with some public safety concerns there, but it also follows the code. And then one final one is we had another homeless person came to our office, and he said, the police department, when they posted my camp, they cut a big piece out of my tarp to attach the notice to my campsite. They ruined my tarp. So I called the CAP team, and they said, yeah, we did it. We didn't have our zip ties, and it was windy. And so we sent him to risk management, and risk management paid him for his tarp. So sometimes it's little things, sometimes it's big things. But I think I speak for all of us when we say we enjoy what we do. We try to make a difference in the community, and we appreciate your support. So if you have any questions, we would be happy to answer them.
Yeah, do you get a lot of complaints about assembly members?
We get a few. We actually get a
I haven't seen any referrals, that's what I was wondering. And I
Well-
know I'm not that good.
We have people that get upset, and why can't we inquire into actions of the mayor or the assembly or the school board? And the answer is, there is the Board of Ethics, there is, the ballot box, but while we can inquire into it, I will say we do answer questions sometimes about, there may be somebody complaining about an assembly member should have recused themselves or something. So a lot of times we will explain the code to them, how the code works, and say, if you think something was done wrong, here's the Board of Ethics.
Is there an assembly member file somewhere?
No. No.
Enough for yeah. So I just have one quick comment. I've been around for a long time, municipal employee, got my time as official for 32 years. I'm very proud of that. I've seen the ombudsman's position, the person who held that position, change 5 times. Darrell is the 5th one. And I have to say that Darrell is one of the best ombudsmans that we've had. He's done a really excellent job, and I'm really impressed with him.
One of the 5 best.
Top 5.
Is it one of the best?
No. I mean, there was one that was really great. I mean, everybody has their, anyway. But Darrell's been amazing. And I'm just really wanted to publicly tell him how much he's appreciated, and his staff.
Actually, yeah, the whole crew has the right temperament for the job, or public temperament anyway. Behind the scenes when people leave, I'm sure you can express yourself, but you have a good public service attitude, and that's what's necessary.
Well, I appreciate that. And I will say
Give
one of
yourself a 5% raise.
the things that we've learned how you word things sometimes. Words are very important. We will have people, when we don't find their complaint justified, they will accuse us of calling them liars. So the word we use a lot is indeterminate. And what we tell people is, without audio or video recordings or written evidence, we can't say whose recollection is most accurate. So we tell people we can't say this didn't happen. What we're saying is we can't prove it happened. So we try to validate their concerns and acknowledge that they believe their concerns are valid, but because of a lack of evidence, we can't substantiate it.
Thank you. Mr. Folsom?
At the risk of asking a question that you may already have answered, I'm curious. The charter says that your office can also investigate the school district. Do you get a lot of school district inquiries?
They used to be one of our top 10.
I think they still are.
But we found one of the things we have to do is allow the department an opportunity to respond, even if we weren't required to by the code of regulations of the code. To me, it's unfair for somebody to come to our office and we start poking around or investigating an allegation, and the department didn't have an opportunity to address it. 90% of the people we send back to the school district are the department, and a lot of what we do is find the right person that can help them. 90% of them never come back because the issue is taken care of. So over the years, we've developed a good relationship with the school district, and we figured out, Betsy is a retired 30-year teacher with the district, which is great for us. So knowing where to send them a lot of times usually takes care of the issue.
Thank you. Anything else from anybody? Okay, thank you.
The school district